Thank you, Diana. Thank you, friends. Thank you so much for coming. As you know, I founded the TEAK Fellowship to honor my friend TEAK Dyer and my student DeWitt White. They are the reason I came to this work, but never did I imagine that we would be 660 people strong tonight, sitting under the whale, the Museum of Natural History, celebrating our 25th, or that, starting this Friday, get ready, every one of the 6,000 New York City taxi cabs will play our story. Or that Hamilton wouldn't just be a play that our students experienced, but that Lin-Manuel Miranda and his dad would actually be in the room where it happened. This is really big stuff, and you never, ever do big stuff alone. Our audience includes two people who were coming up with me and having meetings that some people thought were interesting and a lot of people didn't, with huge ideas. In the front, my friend Robbie Hammond, who started the High Line, the New York City High Line. Just having an idea. My friend Dave Isay, who started StoryCorps. Yeah. NPR every Friday, a story of connection, and I am so proud of all of us who care about the TEAK Fellowship that we started something too. I did tell my friend Rob Kaplan that I wanted to create a Rhodes Scholarship for promising New York City public school students like the students I worked with in the Bronx. Rob listened to my ideas. He said, call me if you ever want to do that. I'm in. As he said, I called the next day, quit my job. And Rob and Tracy, too, have been in for 25 years. There has never been an issue too small for Rob Kaplan to care about. Rob's fingerprints are on every single thing we do at TEAK still, and for this reason, I have always called Rob a co-founder. Thank you. You set the bar high for making sure that our work matches your integrity. From the smoker, I did call a senior member of Goldman Sachs to say someone is smoking in the next room and it's bothering me and the kids. And Rob got out of his office, okay, head of investment banking, head of blah, blah, head of everything, to come and smell the smoke and agree that we should get rid of the smoker, which was a long and arduous process that we'll tell you about someday. No issue too small for Rob Kaplan to help me or the kids with in those days. We were a very small group of founding board members. Tracy and Rob, who you've heard from, journalist Amy Waldman, financier Jill Olson, Bob Reeder, our attorney, TEAK's mother, Jackie Dyer, and Fred Bowen, who are no longer with us. They all took a huge leap. These were prominent people. They put their reputations on the line. They put their names on the door when we didn't even have a door. That's not what you usually do. You usually say, like, let me know how it goes, and I'll keep me posted. These people said, that's a great idea, I'm in, let's do this. My friend John Kaplan is here tonight. The TEAK Fellowship, when I was calling people and asking them to join, like Amy and Jill and Rob and Tracy and Bob Reeder and Jackie and Fred, I was living on John Kaplan's couch. He is the original great entrepreneur. Remember Arizona Iced Tea? He went from there to do a lot of amazing things, but this is at a time in his own life when he was 20-something and struggling. And can you even imagine giving up your couch in your living room? And actually, he went somewhere else and gave me his bedroom also for my dream. And I will never forget that. And we looked at a really crappy apartment that was over a hamburger joint with broken glass, and I told him, I'm so excited, I can afford this, I'm gonna move in, and it's gonna be great, and I'm gonna start the TEAK Fellowship because this is what I can afford. And he was like, no, it's a terrible idea. And I moved into John's apartment. Thank you, John. It's the original TEAK home. We are talking tonight a lot about the old days, when really the focus should be on right now and what came after. Rob Kelso-Ramos, Matthew Stopnick, another dream team came after, Ann Brennan and Henry McVeigh, all past and present trustees who work to nurture this like it's your own baby. Thank you. Thank you. There are so many other things you could do, but you put equity and justice in education, making this your cause and your heart. I know that I'm not the easiest person. If you're a friend in the audience, if you're a staff member at TEAK, if you're a family member, you know that I'm not the easiest person. Some people call it detail-oriented. Other people call it pain in the ass. I acknowledge that. I love this place so much I can't even tell you. And I ask for your forgiveness for being such a pain. And I ask for your I ask wholeheartedly that you all know, everybody, every single person who's talked tonight and who hasn't talked tonight, how much I appreciate the endless phone calls about the TEAK Fellowship. It is very hard for founders to separate. And I just hope I don't make you crazy. One day, an 8th grader from Washington Heights, who's 37 and here tonight, an amazing, amazing young woman named Joanna, was touring Deerfield with me. It was the beginning. It was our first time looking at schools that we had gotten into. We ran into Steve Mandel. I'm close to Steve never talking to me again, because if you mention Steve and if you acknowledge his good heart, it is very embarrassing to him. But I really do need to say that I ran into Steve on my first trip, and he's such a quiet giver that he doesn't really like talking about that kind of thing. But he did ask me what I was doing there, because he knew I didn't have children, certainly somebody looking at 9th grade. And I explained that this young lady was a student in the first class of the TEAK Fellowship, and that her mother, a housekeeper at Helmsley Palace, could not get the day off to come see the schools that her daughter had just been accepted to. I was accompanying her to make the biggest decision she had ever had to make. She ended up picking Andover. 22 fellows have attended Andover after Joanna. She opened that door. Next thing I know, Steve and his wife, Sue, my friend, Sue Mandel, jumped in, and they brought in Lone Pine Foundation. For the past quarter century, that's kind of a long time, I will say when I was walking in tonight, I met some lovely moms of current TEAK fellows, and they asked them who they were, and then they asked me who I was, and they said, we thought TEAK was founded by a man. You? So go girls. Anyway, for the past quarter century, that's a lot. Foundations change their mind, they change their priorities. They do lots of great things. They want to change the great things they do, but Lucy Ball, Dave Craver, Marco Tablato, who used to work there, Gianni, who's now with us, of course, my old friends, Dave and Vicky Craver, and of course, Sue and Steve and Lucy. You've been with us for 25 years. That's a lot. We were on the brink of homelessness many, many times. And what I love about Lone Pine, my favorite thing about Lone Pine, is that Lucy Ball is a different kind of foundation director. And she said, what's really going on? And I said, we can't find a home and we need to move in 30 days. And that's very difficult in New York. We'd been in John's living room. We'd been in the basement of Friends Seminary. We had been in the servants' quarters, true story, of the old Astor family mansion. What a weird place to stuff staff and kids into. And we needed to get out, and we had nowhere to go. And it was Lucy Ball who made the introduction and stuck with us until we signed a lease. We never would have found our current home without Lucy Ball. Thank you, Lone Pine and Lucy. Lin-Manuel Miranda, Luis Miranda, you're really here. Thank you so much for Freestyle Love Supreme's deep and generous work with our students. And thank you for never becoming so famous that you forget our community and the community of our children. Thank you. We don't honor people at TEAK just because they're famous. We honor people at TEAK because they care specifically about our children. Thank you. I don't even know where you are. I would love to know. Anyway, thank you. Mark Becker. That's the big elephant in the room tonight. I really thought we were going to be here together. And my spiritual beliefs are that we are here together. I love you. I thank you. I'm so sorry that you're not here. 11 years of helping us and making part of your day at work for us, for your temple, and for something outside of your work. We appreciate you. And actually, I learned just a few moments ago from Mark's wife that he loved whale watching. So, hey, maybe it was meant to be here. Thank you, Mark. We miss you. It's the beginning of missing you. We will make you proud. Now, can you imagine our first 3 staff members? What if you were offered a low-paying job, a cardboard desk, in a basement with no windows? Would this idea be big enough to go for that? And I really want to acknowledge my friend Melissa Wu. Our friend Jacques Pierre, who's sick tonight, which is such a shame because he has more of a connection to every single TEAK fellow than anybody. He's a trustee, he was a founding staff member, and an incredible friend to the fellowship, and who does all the hard things. Thank you, thank you. And then our second employee ever, who thought Princeton University was sending him, Stuyvesant graduate, who thought Princeton University was sending him to a fancy job, and he came down to the basement, Mr. Will Wong. If you're a fellow in the audience, you remember Will teaching you engineering and telling you what that meant and that it was possible and that he was from your neighborhood and that you could come with him on this journey. Thank you to John Green. Thank you to DBA. Can you imagine a 28-year-old? You're a parent and you come listen to a 28-year-old who's saying what's going to happen with your kids and what's possible. I was making it up as I went along. I had really good intentions, but I was making it up as I went along. Can you imagine what it feels like to have people like Denise Brown Allen and John Green, who are seasoned, veteran, amazing educators leading us? Thank you both. You have taken us to new places. And while I'm talking about staff, I want to mention that we have a staff member who's been with us for 17 years, Dan Blednick. I actually, thank you, Dan. I live in Hawaii. If you come to Hawaii, please visit me. This is still about Dan. And I have a young friend who's a TEAK graduate who's getting ready to apply to medical school. She's now there and came to Hawaii to work for a few years. And I asked her, "Who is your best friend?" And she said, "Dan Blednick." Mina Morisaki said, "Dan Blednick is my best friend. Nobody has ever cared about me as much as Dan." Sure, everybody here opened the doors of opportunity for our students, but nobody opened them like the pioneers, our first class. There they are in their high school shirts. I have a picture in my office of them in their college shirts. I have them side by side, and whenever I'm down, I look at that and I remember what's possible. We met, pioneers, when you were 12 and I was 28. You're 37, I'm 53. Look how far we've come together. Early in the TEAK fellowship years, Hillary and Bill Clinton took us to a WNBA game at Madison Square Garden, treated us to a private dinner, let every single student call their sister, talk about homework, call their dad. Yes, this is really Bill Clinton. When I said, put your cell phones away, they said, take them out. They were very generous to us, and I didn't know the next day, after we watched the game, had this extraordinary experience, I didn't know how to thank them. And it was like a Peanuts cartoon where I just kept throwing away my thank you letters, throwing them away, and a man came to the door and handed me a letter at 6 a.m. at the current TEAK Fellowship office. And I opened it, and it was handwritten by Bill Clinton. And it said, thank you. Thank you so much. Your reward will be their lives. Indeed, TEAK pioneers, our reward is your lives, and I really want to honor each of you tonight, and I want to tell you who the TEAK Fellows are. Can you imagine a class of 22 people, and 3/4 of the class shows up tonight from all over the country? They're on call at their jobs, etc. Yes, that means they're doctors, and they showed up tonight. Networking, please stand up when I call your name. Where are you all, pioneers? So I'll just say, it's hard to see everybody, I'm going to say who you are and what you're doing. Network engineer, Hanver Lam. Mother and cloud architect, Joanna Marmolejos. Mother and pharmacist, Kathy He. Stepfather and attorney, James Hidalgo. Pediatrician right here in New York City, Rashida Green. Property manager, Suzanne Tran. Woman of many talents, including mom, Stephanie Hisiano. OBGYN and mom, Diese Taylor. Data analytics, software engineer, Renee Cerullier. Attorney and mom, Angelica Cesario. Assistant Director of Equal Opportunity at NYU, Cynthia Thaler. Software engineer, Diana Ozimboya. There are other people who had to be at their jobs tonight. Bin Vu, math teacher, Simone Sun, endocrinologist. Gaurav Yoshi, engineer, Rusbe Akhtari, ophthalmologist, and I never will forget to mention Elizabeth Patterson, who started a program like the TEAK Fellowship in Ghana all by herself. She's there, running it. We are not just a TEAK family. We are literally family. Tonight, I want to acknowledge 2 girls who are now women who met at 12 in the first class, Angelica and Cynthia, and they are married. Angelica and Cynthia from our first class are married, have 2 beautiful children. After their undergraduate and graduate work at Amherst, Brown, the Kennedy School at Harvard, and Columbia Law School, they started a family. One of them is a longtime trustee at the TEAK Fellowship. Thank you. Thank you. Schools, pioneers are more diverse because of you. There is more financial aid. The world is starting to see that we win when brilliant children of every background are at the finest schools in America. There are even several prestigious independent schools where our students were the first students to attend who received food stamps. We have been confided in by schools about so many different things that we are the first. You, pioneers, opened the door for 24 more classes. Soon we will be 700 students strong. What that feels like is everybody in this room, and the fan effect of that is huge. So tonight, I just want to say this grew out of some very heart-wrenching stories personally. Nothing can change those losses. The world is a super tough place right now. But in response to unimaginable tragedy, I hope that we will always be the people who honor what is good in the world, and we will do things together in memory of TEAK, DeWitt, and now our friend Mark Becker. As a community, we're unstoppable. This is DeWitt's continuing music tonight. I can hear it. Thinking of you, DeWitt and TEAK and Mark, and thank you all for caring and trying and being part of our community. Thank you.